All right. What's up, everybody? This is Terminator Juice. I'm going to do a little live discussion here. Special guest Twilight Bites. What's going on, man?
Nothing much, man.
All right. Happy to
Nothing
have you
much at
here. I was
all.
glad to have somebody join me here. So, if anyone tunes in, uh, there's going to be a question and answer app up. If you guys want to ask questions, we're going to kind of go over some topics after each topic. If there's any questions, we'll answer that. But yeah, first, if you guys aren't familiar with Twilight Bites, he's been doing YouTube for about 4 months now, I think,
Something
for
like that.
for your gaming channel. You want to just go over quick a little history of you on YouTube and your gaming history, and maybe some of your favorite games or something, just to give us a base point.
Well, my gaming history starts with the Nintendo, the original Nintendo, actually, when I was a youngster, like a really young kid. Me and my cousin had this original NES that we played all the Mario's on, and baseball, and the Addams Family, and Ninja Turtles and stuff like that. So that was my first. Those are my first video game memories. Actually had a dream about Super Mario 3. That's one of the first memories of like a
Nice.
dream that I ever had, and it was Mario 3 in 3D for some reason. It was just weird. But I was about 6 years old, and like I want to say either '97 or '98 when Spyro the Dragon came out. And my parents got me a PlayStation One. Me and my cousin, PlayStation Ones, and Spyro was the first game that I ever personally beat. And after Spyro 3, I hate that series went down the path that it did. But
hmm
those were my first games. Then I got a GameCube, Smash Brothers, F Zero, all the Mario Sunshine, all, Nintendo Magic was just it had me gripped. But then I had a
hmm
PlayStation 2 for a little while. I got PlayStation 2 for Soul Calibur 3 because I love Soul Calibur 2 so much on the GameCube.
Yep.
I'm trying to give you as complete a history as possible.
So, did you
Uh,
have the N64 at all?
the N64,
hmm
I played it a lot, but I was never mine. I have
Okay.
one now, but I never actually owned it. But I played it a lot. I played GoldenEye and
Oh
Mario
yeah.
Kart, but I like and Banjo Kazooie, of course.
hmm
My friend had Jet Force. I think it's Jet Force Gemini.
hmm
I don't really remember the game too well, but I know we played. He played it a little bit. Mario 64, obviously. Um, but by the time my N64, like most of my shit. Where am I going with this? Uh, Mario 64 was I played that predominantly on the DS, but
hmm
where was I?
You were
PlayStation
talking about the
2,
GameCube too.
GameCube, PlayStation 2. I Monster Hunter is one of my favorite games, but I never played the original Monster Hunter on PS2. I didn't play much Final Fantasy at all on that system. Um, and then went through that gaming generation, and then I started. I was always into other stuff. I never really games weren't like my main thing. I
hmm
was a Lego head back in the day. Legos was where all my childhood money really got spent. I was really into like Bionicle and stuff like that. Like Bionicle really was my thing back in the day. Uh, and then once the Wii came out, that was like my only system for a while. And so I played all your great Wii games,
hmm
from Wii Sports to Metroid to freaking Sin and Punishment, which I have to buy again because I gave it up a long time ago. I got to get that game back. Um, Xenoblade, stuff like that. And I got a 360 around '09, and I really, like I tried to get into it. I really did. Like for a while, I was on that thing. You know what I'm
hmm
saying? Halo Reach, Halo 3, basically all your shooters, Gears of War, stuff like that. And there was this really good ATV racing game. It was Disney. I can't remember what it was called.
Was it ATV versus MX or something? There's a
No,
couple.
it was called. It had one name. It had one word name. It wasn't Rush. It was something, and it
hmm
was ATV racing. That was a really good game. And I bought a whole bunch of games on the not the eShop. I would call it the eShop, but the online marketplace. A
hmm
bunch of little RPGs and Marvel vs. Capcom, and a lot of the retro games that you can't get on the Wii that were releasing on Xbox and stuff. And but it didn't stick with me. I wound up selling my 360 for a 3DS. And
Nice.
so handheld history wise, I had a Game Boy Color from like what
Way
97,
back. Yeah,
98,
that was. Yep.
and then I just from there on I just did all the Nintendo handhelds all the way through from the Advance to the Advance SP
Mm-hmm.
to the DS. Switched it in for a DS Lite, DS Lite to 3DS. Now I have a 3DS XL. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Or yeah, XL over here in the States, and I can't wait for the next handheld system to come out because I'm just greedy like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, man, that's kind of my history. I hope it wasn't as complete as I would have liked it to be, but
Yeah,
so,
that's. I mean, that's pretty diverse. You have a lot of different types of games in there. You know, it's
uh,
not the typical everyone. You know, a lot of people they'll get the PlayStation and they just went with that. You know, till
yeah,
now. So that's cool. GameCube or GameCube, Wii U wise, are you pretty much got all the major games or?
I have right now Pikmin 3, Nintendo Land, The Wonderful 101, Monster Hunter, Tekken. I'm working on getting Deus Ex. That's the next game I'm getting after Mario. Well, before Mario Kart, I want to get it before so I can actually play it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I have Donkey Kong, Mario 3D World, and the Wind Waker on the system. I wanted to get Rayman Legends, but it just
Yeah, I
never.
got that game and it's a good game. I wouldn't say it's great, but it's definitely
Yeah.
a good game.
And then I want to get Mario and Sonic, not Mario and Sonic, Sonic All Star Racing,
Mm-hmm.
and eventually Sonic.
Lost
What's
Worlds.
Lost Worlds. I'm gonna be getting Mario, Super Mario Brothers, new Super Mario Brothers U the
Yeah.
new when you can get that free game of Mario
Mm-hmm.
Kart. So that's my collection for the Wii U right now.
Yeah, sounds like you got most of it covered there.
The
So
3DS definitely kept me good through that drought that we had.
yeah, I gotta say my 3DS collected dust for a long time until pretty much between Mario Kart 7 and Link Between Worlds. I didn't play it or buy a game for, which I feel pretty bad about that. You know, there's a lot of great games I missed out on, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So you had I mean, my history is very similar. I started out a lot sooner. I mean, I was there when the NES was new, like we're talking about off air. But I had the Wii exclusive for like 2 years. That was my only system. So very similar there.
Yeah.
Had all the GameCube games that you mentioned and stuff. So since we both have a bit of history with just all types of games, but a lot with Nintendo specifically. I wanted to talk about Rare Ltd. Or Rareware as they were known. Currently, majority of shares are owned by Microsoft, but I just read an article that they're laying off employees. The Connect Sports Rivals was kind of a flop, and Microsoft, basically said they had to lay off people. So I just wanted to kind of go down memory lane again, even though we just kind of did with Rare specifically,
Mm-hmm.
and just some of the fond memories I have over the years playing Rare games, and some I didn't even know they made until I looked at a list of their history. And I mean, they made a lot of games for the NES and a lot of games for the Super NES, and just kind of want to go over how kind of a sad story this turned out to be. How great of a studio they were, and really now they've been relegated to Connect Sports games the last like 4 or 5 years, and it's just a real shame. So
The tragedy of it is that modern gamers they won't get the tragedy. They don't
no,
understand how tragic that really is. You know what I'm
it's.
saying?
I mean, they were right up there with Nintendo first party games. I mean, they were pumping them out fast, and they were
Yeah.
quality, and you knew that you're getting a good game if you bought a Rare game. You knew that it was going to be a great game. So I kind of have the list of their games. I'm gonna pop up
Killer
here.
Instinct was rare, right?
Hmm. Killer
Was it
Instinct. Yep.
back in the
Yep.
day? Now it's
Yep.
not rare anymore, though, right?
No, it was Double Helix. I think made the last. Even though Rare gets a little credit for it, but I'm just gonna read off some of these NES and Super NES games I never knew that Rare made, and there's a whole list, but I'm just gonna pick out the ones that were the bigger titles. Like we got RC Pro Am, Marble Madness. They did a RC Pro Am sequel. Battletoads. Let's see. Yeah, they did a lot of Battletoads, which
You
was
talking
one
about
of the
remaking
hardest.
that?
Battletoads is one of the hardest games ever made, in my opinion. never did beat that game. And then when you got towards the Super NES, they did the Killer Instinct in the arcade, and then they had the Donkey Kong Country trilogy, um, which were pretty stellar games. And then going to the N64, they had Blast Corps, which was like a launch window title. GoldenEye 007, one of the most fond game memories I have are playing, four-player
That's
split
one of the
screen.
most fine game memories many people have.
Oh man, it was like everybody I knew went. It went from me owning the N64 and I didn't know a single other person to everybody I knew had an N64 with GoldenEye. Then they did the Banjo Kazooie. Uh, I think there was two or three on the N64. Jet Force Gemini, Donkey Kong 64, Perfect Dark, another excellent first-person shooter. Conker's Bad Fur Day was their farewell on the
Hmm.
N64. Great game. I never owned it personally, but I really enjoyed that game. Great humor. That was one of the first like super mature titles that I think, other than Mortal Kombat 2 on the Super Nintendo, that was like I remember that made a big. There was a lot of uproar over that game appearing on a Nintendo system.
Yeah.
And then it starts getting bleak. The GameCube, they only had one title. It was the Star Fox Adventures. I don't know if you played that.
That
Um,
was my first Star Fox experience, actually.
yeah, and it was originally going to be a game called Dinosaur Planet. It was
Hmm.
a brand new IP, all new characters. It was going to be take place on multiple. I believe they're going to go multiple worlds with it. And Nintendo stepped in and kind of pushed and said they wanted it to be a Star Fox themed game. And I think that was pretty much the beginning of the end with Rare and Nintendo's relationship,
And
because
Star Fox.
that game didn't. That game was okay. It was
Yeah.
decent, but it just felt the Star Fox aspect just felt out of place with the rest of the game. And then they were bought out by Microsoft for I think like 300 million, and I think what they have cameo elements of Power and Perfect Dark Zero, just terrible games. And then they did the Viva Pinata series, which
Which was
I
a
guess were
good
pretty
game,
fun.
actually.
Yeah, I never played them, but
People
I
actually
heard.
really liked them.
Yeah, I heard my brother-in-law. He said he played them all the time. And then they got that Banjo Kazooie vehicle construction
Nuts
is
and
what
bolts.
it's like. Yeah, nuts and bolts. It's called vehicle construction is the genre that it's
I
considered.
need you to go. If you ever heard of JonTron,
No.
you need to type in somewhere. Take a note of it. It's just JonTron. JonTron. He
Hmm.
does a video about Banjo Kazooie Nuts and Bolts and Star Fox. The Star Fox rare game.
Yeah.
And the Star Fox one is entitled Stairfax Temperature. And it's so hilarious how devastated he is about how these games turned out. So you need to check that out.
What was it? Dontron?
JonTron,
Jontron. Okay.
JonTron, and you will be addicted to him after this.
I'll check him out right now before I forget.
Hmm.
He's got a Facebook. Is he on YouTube?
Yes, he is.
All right, let me go to YouTube. But anyway, while I'm looking that up,
Yeah.
out of those list of games, I mean, what stood out to you as far as those rare games? As some of your better memories.
Well,
In,
obviously, Banjo Kazooie and Banjo Tooie definitely because as a kid, because I was a kid then, I was young,
mm-hmm.
and they just sparked my imagination. You know what I'm saying? Like they really, in that day, were like really expansive and grand. Seeming and yeah, they were collectathons, but they were fun, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't remember one from the other anymore because those I didn't play them as much, but I just remember thinking that those were like Nintendo first party games.
Oh yeah.
And um, when I found out that Banjo Kazooie wasn't, I was like, what? Because I didn't do a lot of research back in the day. Um, GoldenEye, you know, just going to my friend's house, tournaments on GoldenEye. I sucked at the game, really. I sucked. So I didn't really stick with the game too much. I wasn't really into it, but I know it was a good game. I can appreciate it for what it
Mm-hmm.
is. The Donkey Kong trilogy, just a experience like no other, man. Can't be matched. You know what I'm saying? Just like
Mm-hmm.
sheer adventure. The music,
Oh yeah.
just like how I say, like I love Spyro, probably one of my favorite games just because of the music. that music made that game. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I've heard that. I don't know if it was from one of your videos or a podcast you were in or something, but I've heard other people say that.
dude, it's just a culmination of excellent gameplay, visuals, and music that made those games just legendary to me.
Hmm. Oh yeah, I still remember the aquatic ambience. I mean, yeah, they redid it for Tropical Freeze, but I still remember hearing that for the first time
Yeah.
back on the original. It was, I mean, this, like I was telling you off air, some of my fondest memories. Looking back, I realized most of them are rare games, other than some of the first party Nintendo games, and
And for some people, it's indistinguishable because
hmm.
that's where all those rare experiences were had on Nintendo
Oh,
consoles.
and they had like Donkey Kong 64, Donkey Kong Country, so they were Nintendo uh,
They were
IPs.
retro. They were the retro up to date,
Hmm. And
except
it's
even more expansive because they did even more. You know what
yeah,
I'm
they
saying?
pushed out a lot more
Yeah.
games in a shorter period of time. Retro seems to take quite a bit longer. Yeah, for me, like I was telling you, RC Pro Am, I remember playing that on the NES just constantly. That was
What is that game? I haven't heard of that
it's a it's a racing game, but they're remote controls, and you can be four player.
one.
And I don't know if you ever played Rock and Roll Racing. That was on the Genesis and Super Nintendo. But basically, it was like a top-down slight angle, and then you
Hmm.
race around the track. And if somebody got in the lead, the other players would just get sent up toward, so they were on screen because it was just on one screen. And it was just fun. They were just little RC cars, and it was simple. It was simple colors, not the best visuals even on the NES, but it was just a fun game. And
Yeah.
I just actually played it at my buddy's house about a month ago. He fired up his NES and we played some RC Pro Am. It was just fun. It's still fun to this day. And then Battletoads, like I mentioned, that was one of the hardest games for me when I was younger. I might be able to beat it now. I could never get past. There was a level where you're just like skating on, I forget what it was, some kind of creatures or something. It was just impossible, you know. So,
I've heard of that.
oh god. And then you know, Super Nintendo, like Donkey Kong Country. I was telling you, on my 16th birthday, it came out on my birthday. I had saved up money mowing lawns and stuff, and I rode my pedal bike about 10 miles to the store and picked up that game and came home and played it all night till I beat it like in the morning. It was like 8 a.m. and me and my buddy were taking turns. We beat that. Um, I never actually bought the other ones. I played them. I rented them or whatever. And then, just the N64, that was kind of the pinnacle with GoldenEye
Yeah.
and what was Perfect Dark and, the Banjo. I played Banjo Kazooie. I didn't play the sequels. And, it's just, you saw that Rare emblem. Forgot to mention Killer Instinct. That was another huge game. Me and my friends, we played that more than like Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter or anything. It was Killer Instinct, and it's like every memory I have is there's a Rare game somewhere in there, and it's just really. I mean, I don't know why it's not a bigger story that Rare's laying off people and they've been making Connect games because it's really a tragedy. Yeah. What's the word I'm looking for?
A
Tragedy.
travesty and a
Tra-
tragedy.
Yep, I was trying to say both those words at the same time. Yeah, I mean, it'd be like if Nintendo, their first party studios, just started making bad games, and you know, it would be pretty much equal to that. And so, anyone that's watching this, either now live or after the fact, if if you're 20 something or younger and you haven't experienced those games, you grew up on 360 or PS3, just you don't appreciate just the quality games that were put out back in that era. I
First of
mean,
all, if you grew up on 360 and PS3, you need to stop what you're playing right now and go get you a nice little backlog of old games and
hmm.
play out your life because it is not what it used to be. It's a
Oh
whole
no.
different beast now.
Yeah, I mean that's a whole topic on its
Yeah,
own.
that's a
Just the
whole
fact
nother. Yeah.
buying incomplete games and the whole, a friend of mine, he's so used to patches and DLC that he doesn't even question incomplete
Yeah,
or broken games when he buys them. It's like,
and that's how it ties back to Rare in
hmm
that Rare had a sense of completeness and polish that you found only in Nintendo even back in those days. You know what I'm saying?
hmm
When everybody was finishing their games, and games didn't have the glitches just from anybody who released games. I bought a game called Bugs Life. It was a video game based off of Bugs Life from Disney.
hmm
That game sucked, but it still wasn't broken. You know what I'm
hmm
saying? Like now games suck and they're broken. So yeah, go back and figure your life out. Go play some old games.
Yeah, I mean, that's a perfect uh, like segue into what we were just talking about. Rare, they were the epitome of quality, just like the Nintendo seal of quality used to get on a lot of games. Like they would actually go over and make sure the games weren't broken. They were
Yeah.
make sure you got a game that worked. And I don't know when that switched over exactly. I'm not going to just blame Microsoft or Sony. I mean, at some point,
No,
you
it's
know.
about the audience, man. It's all about what people are willing to accept.
Hmm
And once one company figures out that you have two other companies that are huge outside of Nintendo, and so that's where the majority of the people are gonna go. You know what I'm saying? Like
hmm
Nintendo outsold both Sony and Microsoft, but not combined. So still, the majority of the people are gonna be on those other two systems.
Exactly.
So this whole Western sentiment still outsells Nintendo. So that's how things got to the place where they are now. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
this
it's
Western attitude of, oh, we'll fix it when it comes out. We'll fix it at that day. You know what I'm saying? For now, for 6 months, you're gonna play a broken game and figure out how we're gonna do this.
and the more they do it, the more it's accepted, and people don't even question it. It just becomes the
Yeah,
norm. And
yeah,
I mean, like I said, I could do a whole video just talking about that. But
absolutely.
since we're talking, you just mentioned Western versus Nintendo. Just something interesting I was checking out. There was an article. Like I don't follow sales rarely. I mean, sometimes I just go to VG charts for the forums and I'll just see what games are selling and stuff. I'm not. It doesn't matter to me if something's selling amazing or if it isn't. I just enjoy the games that I have, no matter how they're selling. But I did see that the PS4 has dropped down to Wii U weekly sales levels about just under 7,000 weekly sales. It's just barely above the Wii U now in Japan after that pretty good first couple weeks to a month, and it's like it's really telling of just that Japan as a whole that they're not that big in console gaming anymore, and the handhelds are just I mean they're flying off the shelves. The DS and the PSP are still selling decent for how old they are in Japan, and you know in my like where I live, we're all spread out. We got 100,000 people spread out in probably the size of like a small country. We're all spread out everywhere. So if I brought my 3DS somewhere, I'm not going to get a street pass from anyone. I'm not. I'm hardly. The chances of me running into somebody with a 3DS in their pocket and standby and getting a spot pass is, pretty much 0%. Um,
Man,
but in Japan, I mean, they're so packed in
you
there.
walk outside of your door and you
Oh
got a
yeah,
free pass
I
to see
mean,
Japan.
Tokyo. I think I forget on the island that Tokyo's on. The furthest point from Tokyo that someone can live is like within 2 hours, so or something like that. I don't know. I don't know the exact number, but it's like just about anyone that lives there can get to Tokyo pretty easily, and it's just everyone's walking. The public transportation's like huge buses and trains. It's not like here where every single person's by themselves in a car driving 5-10 miles to work every day. They're just so compact. So handhelds just make sense there, and I don't think a lot of people really understand that. They just look at they've been looking at the Wii U sales in Japan, saying how terrible they are, and that's a bad sign. But when you look at the handhelds, are just dominating, and you've had all the handhelds, and so like myself, I've had everyone since the Game Boy Advance. Just do you have any feelings on Japan and their love for handhelds and the sales of consoles being pretty low?
My
over
thing
there.
about Japan, I love Japan because I see, in terms of game quality in general, that they're into games that are finished and are quality, and they're
Hmm.
not really into the same old Western BS. You know what I'm saying? They like games like Monster Hunter. Like Monster Hunter deserves the credit it gets in Japan. It really does. You know, because it's a great quality, finished, expansive game with a lot of replay value and stuff. And their all of their games lend to like kind of have that same kind of quality to them. You know what I'm saying? That same
Hmm.
personality. You know, and so in terms of their taste in games, I love it. When it comes to their handheld versus home console deal, it just makes sense. It's their culture. You know what I'm saying? Americans, whether we like to admit it or not, we're fat and we're lazy,
Hmm.
and we sit on the couch all day, and we spend a lot of time at home looking at screens. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? And we're compared to the rest of the modern world, at least America is a newer country. It's not gonna be tightly compact. America is a big, it's a wide space, so we're not around each other. Like we're not all on top of each other like that. So we're gonna have more time, and we're gonna desire that online communication stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
today, I went to work and I saw at max like 5 people overall today. You know what I'm saying? Across the whole day, because
Hmm.
we're just all spread apart. Everybody's at home chilling. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to, So that explains the difference. It's not about the Japanese, just a bunch of man children who like Nintendo or Japanese games or colorful games, whatever. It's the fact that it, games are fitting their personality and their culture. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yep. That's
yeah,
I
they're
couldn't.
not trying to watch movies with their games. They're trying to be engaged in their games. Handhelds, there's a level of engagement in a handheld that if I'm playing Monster Hunter on my 3DS, I'm gonna be a lot more in touch with it on a handheld. You know what I'm saying? And I can
Hmm.
go anywhere with that. That's why they like the games they like, man. I think. I hope I made that connection. I hope I made
Yeah,
sense.
that's. I mean, I couldn't have said it any better. That's just about. You hit the nail right on the head, I would say. And Monster Hunter 4. I mean, the sales in Japan have
Oh my
just been
God, I can't
ridiculous.
wait. I can't
We gotta wait
wait.
till what, early 2015?
Next January, man.
Jeez.
Ridiculous.
So, speaking of that, I didn't have this planned out or anything, but I did read an interesting article, and I cannot remember now where I saw it, but you might have saw it on Active Gamer Life's Google Plus community. It was how Monster Hunter 4 is pretty much the only true next gen experience
I
possible.
read that. I
Yeah,
read that all the way through, and
I
I
I
agree with
did.
every word.
I tried reading it at work, and then I couldn't dedicate that much time. There was a lot more paragraphs than I thought, so I
Oh, it
kind
was
of.
a tough read. It was a long,
Hmm.
in, intimate read, dude. But
But I
basically,
did
what it was,
catch basically his point was just
yeah,
how it's smart the AI and just how amazing the AI is in that game and the being on just on a 3DS on a cartridge and it has just infinitely more challenging monsters even though they may have maybe the same model with a
that
different color, but just the challenge, how it changes the attacks and what works against it and what not, what doesn't work against it, and you have to relearn every time you encounter as you progress in the game, and that actually sounded really interesting to me. Like, I've never played Monster Hunter at this point, but reading that and what you've told me about the game before we went on air, it's definitely starting to pique my interest. So,
well, the game is an example of the next gen in a way that people are forgetting to look at the next gen. At one point in time, I believe around the PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 era, right?
mhm.
I'm saying those because those were kind of like the more popular systems during that time. Um, during that time, you had this desire to interact with your game. How intelligent was the game? How interactive am I with this game? You know what I'm saying? The personality of the game, and I keep saying interact, but really that's what it is. How intelligent is the computer? You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like that. What is what defined the greatness of the game because you didn't have just ridiculously amazing CGI movies to look at essentially. So
So,
with Monster Hunter, what he's saying about the next gen is that This is what should define the next generation: is how the game interacts with you, not how good the game looks, but how you have to work with the game and actually be engaged and not just shoot at random enemy running in this direction and random enemy. Because could you imagine if Killzone Shadowfall had enemies? Well, you haven't played Monster Hunter enough, but if you go play Monster Hunter and imagine basically if any shooter had enemies as smart as the what's a good monster example that you're gonna fight soon enough? There's a monster called the Barroth, and it's a big brown like T-Rex monster, dude, and it's smart. It's like very intelligent. And then there's the Logiactus, which is like a sea serpent, and it's like these monsters. You swear to God, they're looking at you, dude, in the eyes, your eyes. Like when you're playing the game, like they're looking at you, like I'm gonna get you. You know what I'm saying? Like imagine if Call of Duty had enemies that intelligent who like really like moved around you and blocked and parried and this and that, you would have a whole nother depth of gameplay there. But basically, what we're playing now is shooting galleries. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? Those old games, the light gun games, the Chuck E. Cheese. You know what I'm saying? That's what we're playing. But they look pretty. So
Hmm.
that's the next gen. Next gen is graphics. Next gen is graphics to these people. And what that article was saying was Monster Hunter is the most next gen game because it has better freaking enemy AI and computer interaction and game interaction than any. Plus, in Monster Hunter, you have to survive as well. You're not just killing something. You gotta eat. You gotta drink. You gotta build a fire to cook your food. You gotta have medicine on hand. You gotta have traps and shit to set up. It's ridiculous, dude. Like it's a life within a game. It's living, you know.
And you can
And that's
craft things from the skins and stuff too, right?
from the skin of the monster you just killed. You know how rewarding that is to go and kill 800 giant dragons, and finally you got the materials you need to build a suit of all of these giant dragons you killed. Like there's no amount of enemies I can shoot in Watch Dogs. I'm telling you that is going to be as satisfying as building a new set of armor out of the skin of the dudes I shot. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a whole different beast. And Monster Hunter, in my opinion, I believe I agree with that article 100%. You know.
So I've seen some videos of Monster Hunter 4. It looks like they improved the animations as well than as the AI versus Monster Hunter 3. And I mean, it looks really amazing for a 3DS game to have
Yeah.
all that animation, the visuals, all the depth there, and the AI. It's just amazing they can fit that into a cartridge.
And let me ask you, why, when you're playing all these other next gen games, why are they costing 40 gigs to download when there isn't nearly as much depth of gameplay there? Like, how are they squeezing all of that into a DS cartridge?
That's a good
When I'm
question.
playing freaking not Killer, Killzone or something, and you're not compressing any of that to even be economical. You know what I'm saying? I'm playing graphics. That's proof right there. You know what I'm saying? Monster
That's
Hunter versus Killzone. I'm getting way more game for my dollar with Monster Hunter than I am with a freaking pretty ass game. You
hmm
know? Oh my god, it just infuriates me if that's not already obvious.
that's a great point that you're playing graphics just by the size of the file. And I don't know if you watch when me and Francis were talking about Mario Kart 8's file size is like 4.9 gigs.
Yeah.
With all that music, they got 32 tracks, all with their own, or 32 race tracks,
Mhm.
each with its own music, and most of it's like live band music. And first of all, how did they get it to 4.9 gigs with the visuals, and how did they get it that low? And then the question I asked is, at some point, everyone's going to run out of space on their Wii U, so what's the point of compressing it so much? But it's obvious they can, and the quality seems to still be there. But I wouldn't
Well,
mind
the
if
fact
it
that my
was.
Wii U only has 36 gigs of memory, right? The fact
Hmm.
that I can have 5 or 6 actual retail games on 36 gigs or 32
Hmm.
gigs is ridiculous. That
That.
the freaking game, what's the game? Titanfall is 40 gig download.
Hmm.
That one game can't fit on an entire Wii U. That's not nothing to brag about. That's
No,
nothing to dog the Wii U about. When I got a game that's better than Titanfall on the Wii U, that's 4 gigs. You know what I'm saying? It's a more complete immersive experience.
yep.
Nintendo is they're the good boyfriend or girlfriend who makes you gifts for Valentine's Day, as opposed to just buying you 800 pounds of chocolate that you don't even need to have,
Exactly.
that you're gonna sit and eat and get fat and unhealthy and spoiled and whiny about. Nintendo writes you a love letter, and they buy you like a little something you can use for the rest of your life. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like a new pair of glasses or some shit. And then they might give you a piece of chocolate. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
one
for
flavor
free.
or
That
something
after
for
you.
free after you come to appreciate their love and affection.
It's
You
like
know, like
Pikmin 3, you get free DLC for no reason. Just here you go, Sonic Lost World's free DLC.
it's
And
my opinion that Nintendo saw the money they made with the Wii and was like, you know what? We're just gonna make the games we like to make for the Wii U. We're not gonna really worry about sales too much. We know we're gonna lose some money, but we're just gonna take our time because we have this new HD system, and we're gonna put these games out when they're freaking ready. You know what I'm saying? We're
hmm
gonna make the games that we know are gonna satisfy our customers. We're not gonna worry about sales. We're gonna satisfy the core appreciative people who we know are gonna stick with us through thick and thin, you know, and we're not gonna really worry about sales too much. I don't. That's why I don't worry about sales because Nintendo knows where they stand better than any of us could possibly know.
Oh yeah, and it's like it's not gonna reduce my enjoyment of Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze
Exactly.
because it only sold 500,000 or whatever, or the Wii U is only at 6 million. It does feel like a love letter. Every game they've released, pretty much. This is up for debate, but for my money, I think New Super Mario Brothers U is the best 2D Mario game. It's everything they've learned, level design, controls, and with improved visuals. I think it ranks right up there with the best 2D Mario games. Pikmin 3, even though it's only the third one, best Pikmin in the series.
Yes.
Um, I think Tropical Freeze is the best Donkey Kong Country game in the series. Mario Kart 8 looks to be potentially the best Mario Kart game in the series. 3D World, I'd put it behind Galaxy 2, but it's still right up there with one of the best in the series. And I think it's just like you said, they just they don't care if they're going to miss their holiday release and have to delay the game. They're going to release it when it's done and when it's
Yeah.
their level of polish. And
It's like
it's
we're not delaying this game for our health, but
they
really
did.
we actually are. We're delaying the game for the health of the game. You know,
Yep, I think
we're
they
not gonna
actually
GTA 5 this. You know,
they
or
did
Super
delay Donkey
Mario.
Kong because it was done in November. They even said that now go back, but they did that because there's no way we were going to be able to buy all those games around in November and December. There was just with Wind Waker HD, 3D World, Sonic Lost Worlds. There was a lot of games coming out. I think they did it just to help um, that and have something for us to look forward to early in the year instead of having to wait all the way to May.
I
So.
still feel like they should remarket Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. I know why they had to do what they did,
Hmm.
but they should definitely advertise that game again come this fall season
Yeah, I
because
mean,
that
even
game deserves way more audience than it has right now.
I think maybe even put it out there with Mario Kart 8 or something. Their next big game. It's too late now. I mean, the game's a week
Yeah.
away, but that's a great idea because I mean, I mentioned this the other day. That was it. Legend of Zelda: The Ocarina of Time 3D. In its first 10 months, it only sold like 900,000 on the 3DS. And
Wow.
then as the 3DS sold more,
It sold.
and it sold like another 4 million in the next couple years. So I would love to see that. I think Tropical Freeze is one of the best platformers that
Tropical
I've ever
Freeze
played.
has the potential to do that same thing, and
I,
Mario 3D World does as well.
yeah, I think that could get another push come this holiday as well. With Smash on the horizon.
I
During
feel
the
like
holidays.
Mario 3D World, 3D Land on the DS sells a million a year
Hmm.
every holiday season just because it's the Mario game on the 3DS.
So
You
yeah,
know,
I mean, that's just how they work, how they roll with their games. Their quality speaks for itself, and they eventually reach these high sales numbers when they don't have these big first week, catching all the headlines, big numbers in the first week. These games
yeah.
just they're like the tortoise and the hare. It's just exactly like that, and they're methodical. They're slow to release games, but they always make them quality. If you waited that long and the game sucked, then you'd never wait that long again. You know, people wouldn't buy their games anymore.
Hmm.
So yeah, moving on. I got a couple other things. The big topic, right, this last week's been Hyrule Warriors.
Yeah.
Um, you didn't mention any Zelda games in your history. So what's your history with Zelda as a franchise?
I don't know how I missed that because uh, I started with Ocarina of Time when I got the GameCube because I got the GameCube. I was always turned off from Zelda as a youngster because I didn't have any patience.
Mm-hmm.
But once I got the GameCube, I got that GameCube with the collector's edition Zelda
Yep.
compilation, right, with all the Zelda games on it. And I played through Ocarina of Time on there up until the Shadow Dungeon. And
Oh
then
yeah.
for some reason I never finished it then. And then I played it on the 3DS, and for some reason I just blew through it. Like I no strategy got anything. I just ran through that game, and then I just ran through the freaking Master Quest because I loved it so much. You know what I'm saying? Like that was weird. That was my first Zelda experience, and then I played through all of the first two Zeldas. I never played through Zelda 2 because it was just ridiculously hard.
That game
I didn't
sucked.
understand how that game was so hard. They really they should go back to that platform for Zelda at least once. Though. I think they should try it again. But anyway, um, and then played Wind Waker for a while on the GameCube. I wasn't really digging the voyaging
Mm-hmm.
part of it, so I kind of that was a rental game for me for sure. And then the Wii came out, and up at that point I had played Minish Cap and a couple other like
Spirit
2D
Tracks, or
Zeldas.
not Spirit Tracks, the Phantom Hourglass on the
I played the
DS.
Phantom Hourglass after I got Twilight Princess. Twilight Princess is what set it off for me. Twilight Princess is what made Zelda my shit. You know what I'm saying? Like Twilight Princess probably goes down as one of the most influential, next to Spiral, probably one of the most influential gaming experiences in my life. Because it touched me. I was touched at a point in my life. I needed Twilight Princess because it was dark and it was moody, but it also showed that there's like recovery from that. Because I was a teenager, you know what I'm saying? I was like, I was moody and stuff like that, and I was going through my little phase. So Twilight Princess really fit the mold there, and it showed me some beauty, and that's where, of course, I get my name from. That's why my name is TwilightBytes. Like my whole theme for YouTube is inspired by Twilight
I
Princess.
was gonna ask you that because I seen you had like the wolf, um,
Exactly. Wolf
some
Link.
artwork.
Wolf Link was like he's my favorite Zelda character because he's like the embodiment of Link's like anger and fierce nature. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like he's the spirit of Link in the Twilight Realm. I really love how they portrayed that.
And
Midna.
added that combat where you'd hold the button and they'd get within that circle, and he'd
Oh
just
my goodness.
auto attack them real fast.
He was really badass. He was really badass, and they should go back to that transformation, that form of Link at some point. I really think they should figure out how to get Wolf Link back in the Zelda
Yeah,
game. But
I,
and then what came
Skyward,
after? Yeah,
Skyward
the
Sword was the next.
Phantom Hourglass. And console wise, yes, Skyward Sword. I love Skyward Sword. Some people, I don't understand why Skyward Sword gets the shit it gets now because back when it came out, people were like, "Is it the best Zelda since Ocarina of Time?" I think it is, and now it sucks for some reason. Skyward Sword never sucked, and it's a different beast entirely from Ocarina of Time. Like you can't compare the two games; they're two different games. I feel.
Hmm.
And Skyward Sword was just the sheer ingeniousness of the freaking puzzles and stuff and the beauty of the game.
That
And
battle with Gearham at the end, that was.
dude, like that was like the battle with Girahim, I was like, how am I playing this on the Wii right now? Like, how is this happening? Girahim is just dude, that game was just in terms of visuals even, it was the most expressive Zelda to date. I don't care what anyone says.
I thought it looked great on a decent TV. I had no problem with the visuals, except some of the up close when you're crawling through some tight spaces, some of the textures up close. But
Yeah,
overall, I thought it was
yeah.
pretty pretty much one of the most beautiful.
The only setback for Skyward Sword was the personality. I liked the personalities from Ocarina of Time and Twilight Princess way better. Um, but I don't know. I can't really take much away from Skyward Sword.
I love the story. I thought it had the best, most emotional story. especially like the end sequence and some of the
Yeah,
beginning. Some, I
yeah.
mean, the cut scenes with, it could have used voice acting. I'm not gonna sit here and be a fanboy and say it doesn't, but Link doesn't need to talk, but it could have been. That would have been a good game with the amount of story that was in there to have some voice acting. But I'm not going to take points off for
I
something.
the only amount of voice acting I would want from Zelda. Honestly, this is where we're gonna just I'm gonna agree to disagree with anyone who's gonna argue this, but Zelda only needs to have voice acting if they're gonna do the Zelda language. You notice how in Zelda people do talk. It's
Hmm.
just they don't say real words.
Yep.
So if you're gonna have that, they already have subtitles. Obviously, the people are talking. Do the Zelda language, and maybe how Midna had her own little speech that she had, and
Hmm.
Fi had hers. Like give them a separate language to speak. I don't want to understand what they're saying. Like it adds a level of charm to the game. You know what I'm saying? That you can really, it's the whole game. They say you imprint yourself on Link, but you really imprint yourself on everyone in the
Hmm.
game. You know what I'm saying? All these people match real figures in your life. You know what I'm saying? Like the little pottery guy, no, the potion maker dude in Skyward Sword. He's like the little spineless husband.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That you see whose life is ran by his wife and his baby. He just works and slaves for his livelihood. You know what I'm saying? Like I know people like that.
Hmm.
I don't need them talking to me. I don't need to, I need to imprint on them. That's why I like Zelda so much. The thing I'm worried about with this new game is that these characters aren't going to be timeless like that. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
So,
we should get to talking about that
yeah,
actually,
real quick,
because I'm going on a long time.
Roberto Visca, he just wanted to know how he can get in on this conference. I just wanted to let him know that you have to be invited before the live stream if you wanted to
Hmm.
be on camera. So, um, yeah, there's no way to do that. And if you want to ask a question or something, that's about all we can do. But yeah,
Hmm.
basically, I'm not gonna go through my Zelda history because that's gonna take forever. Hyrule Warriors. What was that? February they showed that kind of reveal in
Yeah.
that E3 or at the Nintendo Direct. My first thoughts were meh. I didn't really think too much about it at the
Hmm.
time. I never played a Dynasty Warriors game in my life. I've never seen one played. I have no idea what those games
Me,
are about.
wow.
So I see Hyrule Warriors. I'm like, that's kind of cool, but I pretty much forgot about it. Honestly, I barely thought about it. It's not on wasn't on my list of games for 2014. Me personally. So to see the new information now, it's definitely looking better. But like you said, if the characters are part of what makes Zelda so great, just sometimes they reuse like the Gordon or what was it, Goron? Yeah, the Goron character. But they always are charming. They always have their little quirks, and that
Hmm.
just adds to what makes those games so unique. So Hyrule Warriors, while it might be a fun game to play, especially if it's got the two-player co-op, I don't think it's gonna. It may surprise me, but looking at it at this point, I don't think it's gonna give me that Zelda feeling that I'm really looking for. But I am a lot more intrigued now than I was before this new information, which is I don't know why they're releasing it now right before E3, unless they
Yeah.
just didn't think they'd have time to cover. They probably got a lot of stuff to talk about. Maybe they just Hyrule Warriors. They wanted to kind of fill a gap between now and E3, but that's just kind of my impressions right now. So, what are you? How are you feeling?
I'm hoping the game is good for what it is. I'm not gonna try and make it a Zelda game on my mind because it's a beat 'em
Hmm.
up action game. Um, it definitely has that Tecmo Koei kind of cheesy Japanese look. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? In terms of like the main enemy, like her titties are out and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
this is very Japanese. This is very like Tecmo Koei kind of game. But there's also good homages that give me confidence. Like there's this evil guy. It's like he looks like a boss. He has like the Volvagia mask, like the
Hmm.
fire dragon from Ocarina of Time. Like he's based off of that armor. His armor is like he went and played Monster Hunter and killed Volvagia in Monster Hunter and
Yep.
used the skin to make the armor. So like that's a really ingenious way to harken back to old Zelda. So that means that it's not going to be totally just a bastardization of Zelda, but maybe a love letter to Zelda, in a way. So I'm hoping that they pull a Super Mario 3D World on us and make it look like, oh, it's just gonna be another Dynasty Warriors
Hmm.
game. Zelda's kid. I hope that it turns out to be much more than any of us can expect it to possibly be. Because you remember what 3D World looked like back at E3.
Yeah, I mean,
3D World looked like 3D Land with HD, and I was
yeah.
like, why? But then we found out that it was far more than we could have imagined. So I'm
Hmm.
hoping that's what happens at E3 with Hyrule Warriors. Like they only put out a little bit of information, about the game so far. And so I feel like at E3 we're gonna hear a lot more, and we're gonna be excited when that game comes out in August, hopefully.
Yeah, I think they just released the Japanese release date, and a lot of the information was in Japanese and had to be translated. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it was they knew that Japanese liked those type of games, and they thought, for us, Mario Kart 8's all the hype we need right now before E3, but maybe they felt
In terms of the release date for Hyrule Warriors, you notice a lot of the first party Nintendo games haven't had a lot of delay
hmm.
between Japanese and the US. I don't believe this game is going to have any reason to be delayed much
Yeah, unless there's
because
a
I don't
whole
I
lot of
don't know
dialogue.
yeah, like the dialogue unless it's I'm hoping they're doing the dialogue like concurrently. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? At the same
translating it
time.
as they're made.
Yeah. If they do that, then there shouldn't be any delay at all. That's the one thing I fear about Xenoblade is that even if we do get it this year, it won't be till Smash Brothers comes out. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Over here, but who knows? That could have been what they've been doing all these past couple of years or whatever since the Wii U has come out.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm
but I,
thinking Hyrule Warriors. I'm gonna leave it. I don't want to get too hyped for it or have too much hope for it. I'm gonna just kind of see. I want to see some more information, maybe some gameplay. If there's a demo at E3, get some people's hands-on thoughts on it. But
well,
um,
since I know I'm gonna probably get it before you do, I'm
mhm.
gonna let you know if the game.
I mean, if there's nothing really else out when that comes out in the U.S.,
Yeah,
I might get it just because I want to try it, and it's got the Zelda theme, so that could probably keep my interest for a while. And I've seen some screenshots of like treasure chests, like opening it. And I hear there's Z targeting, and
yes.
the one thing I don't like though is apparently the last Dynasty Warriors game had like 70 different characters, which and I heard Anuma said he was surprised at how many characters there were in this game, and I'd rather just have Link and
Well,
maybe a
you're talking
couple.
about a dude who makes a game based around one character, so of
Hmm.
course he's gonna have that reaction even if they
Yeah,
put three characters. I think if they'd have put three characters in this new game, he'd have
that's a good point. But
doesn't
I,
really bother me much.
so yeah, I'm just cautiously optimistic for this one, and I know Francis did a video yesterday where he was thinking it's finally the Zelda game for him. But Zelda games have always been my favorite series
Hmm.
of all gaming, so I'm in a different boat than he is, but I'm just, like I said, cautiously optimistic. It could be a good filler type game.
Yeah,
Something that I probably wouldn't play for months and months, but it might keep my interest for a solid month and a half. So, yeah, I mean, we'll just have to wait and see. We got to see more information, I
yeah.
think. So, other than that, is there any other? Obviously, you mentioned X. What and Smash. Are there any other games that maybe you're super excited for the rest of this year? Um,
I'm ready to finally break into Bayonetta. There
yep.
was one game I forgot to get during the time that I was on the 360 that I really should have picked up, but it just went under the radar for me, like it did for many people.
Hmm.
And so I'm really after playing Wonderful 101 and seeing the sheer frenetic action that Platinum is capable of, I just I can't wait to see what Bayonetta is gonna be like. And it's been long as hell. We've been waiting for this game for a long time. So it's time for us to finally be able to play the doggone game. That's ridiculous. Like, put the
was
game
that
out.
was that teaser in 2011 or 2012? I can't remember the first
That
tease.
teaser was in 2011 when the Wii U was first. Wait, no, it was 2012. It
Yeah.
was 2012 when the Wii U, when we actually finally like was able to hold the Wii U.
Yep.
Was when we
So
saw that.
yeah, I did. I missed the first Bayonetta. I still have my 360. I could. I could pick up the game and play it, but I don't.
That game plus Wonderful 101 is the whole reason why people keep saying that Nintendo should buy Platinum.
Hmm.
Have two excellent Platinum games on a system that is not even really doing all that well right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and everyone that's purchased Wonderful 101 pretty much on the YouTube end of it or forums, they just praise that game left and right. Like only the
Yeah.
reviewers who had to like play it in a couple days to review it seem to give it bad reviews. But the more
Because
time that passes, it seems like
it's
the
such a
more
video
people
game.
they've just been praising that game left and right to the point where I feel ashamed I don't own that game right now. So.
Well,
Um,
it's not expensive. Go
no,
pick it
I saw it for $20 at the store, the disc, physical copy.
up.
So I should definitely gonna pick that up. But Bayonetta for me, it looks pretty interesting. I've never been a huge like nonstop action game fan, but
Uh,
I'm definitely gonna have to give this one a try. I mean, if there's a place,
I'm sorry, I cut you off. Keep
I was
going.
just gonna say if there's a place to start, I think Bayonetta 2 would be a good place to start for that type of game for me.
And I'm hoping that game comes out not if like in July. I'm hoping that
Hmm.
game is like. I hope they surprise me. Like Bayonetta is coming out 1 month from now, so you will be able to enjoy Bayonetta after 2 freaking years
Hmm.
on July 31st or what? Or because they're gonna put it at the very end of the month just to
Oh
be
yeah.
funny. But I'm also looking forward to because Nintendo always has a holiday surprise, what I call
Hmm.
it, right? We didn't know anything about 3D World until E3. So there's going to be at least one game coming out this holiday that's not Super Smash Brothers that's going to be big that they're going to announce, and I'm looking forward to that game. They always do it. They had two this year with Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze and 3D World. So that's also what I'm looking forward to is the surprise.
Yeah, and they Link Between Worlds they showed that like early last year, and it came out the same
Yep.
year they revealed it. So they seem to always keep their secrets pretty well, and that makes the wait for us a lot less when they announce it to when it comes out.
I
Um,
feel like it's Miyamoto's new IP.
yeah.
Now, what I'm terrified of, let me tell you a story I read earlier. What I'm terrified of is that Nintendo apparently put out a patent for the new Wii Music.
Oh no.
I swear to God, if Miyamoto is working on a new Wii Music, I don't care how good it is. I'm going to personally ride out there. I'm going to find out if he's at E3, and I'm going to go and I'm going to slap him. Because if he's doing that after all this time, knowing that we do not want that game, you are officially out of touch, my man. Like
Hmm.
you need to go and you're going to see now. Like the gray hair isn't just a show anymore. Like you're out of your gourd right now.
Yeah, that would just be a travesty. That would be terrible. I mean, I hope.
But on the optimistic side, I believe that Miyamoto is going to go totally out of his comfort zone. He's going to make a first-person shooter, or he's going to make a game that interests the bro dudes as
Hmm.
well as the people like us. I think I'm hoping for that.
Yeah, I mean that would. I think he's just so creative. Other than Wii Music, that's pretty much his only blemish. So that would be a big thing if he had a really unique new IP coming out at November of this year. That would be that'd be pretty spectacular. So,
You know
um,
why Wii Music is a blemish? Not because the game was actually terrible. The game wasn't actually a bad game. It was what it was, right?
mhm.
It was the execution of the marketing and the fact that the timing was just terrible. You know what
And
I'm
that
saying?
that E3 presentation
Oh
didn't
my
help it.
god.
That's
Oh,
that was embarrassing.
that was bad time.
Hmm.
You couldn't defend yourself. You couldn't defend Nintendo. You could not damage control that. There was no damage control in that.
No, I don't think anybody even tried. Yeah, so for me, as a Nintendo fan, I feel almost ashamed to say that like I'm not the biggest Smash player. Like I played Melee, I owned it. Didn't buy Brawl.
Oh my
I
god.
played it at a friend's house a couple times. We did some tournaments. I suck at it, but the thing with that is when the GameCube came out, all my friends decided, well, Xbox looks cool. So they all bought Xbox. I was the only one with the GameCube that whole generation. And
Oh
playing
man.
Smash by myself, it was hard to talk them into playing something that wasn't, super realistic. So I missed out on the Smash craze, the tournaments with, people. Guy I know they had tournaments all the time with four players, and I miss all that. So this, while I say I'm not a huge fan of the series at this point, I'm really looking forward to getting into it with this game. Everything I've seen, everything I've heard, this game looks like it's going to be great. And with online play, hopefully, no lag and some monitoring of, spamming and, what I heard with Brawl was there's just no way to really stop any BS that was going on. So I'm really looking
Yeah.
forward to this game. I want to get into it, and I got the Nintendo heritage. I've been playing them since the NES, so I love all the characters and the idea of it. I just never had an opportunity to take advantage of those games with friends, and I missed out on that. So, um,
Dude, let me tell you something. I played Smash Brothers Melee by myself the majority of the time I played that game. That game, I keep saying this, but that game is like my most played video game. Period. Even more than Monster Hunter. And Monster, well, maybe not more than Monster Hunter now, just because this game has been out so long, and I played it because it's Monster
mhm.
Hunter 3 Ultimate. But anyway, my generations are defined by Super Smash Bros. Like once Smash Brothers comes out, I'm good for the generation. That was true for the GameCube. That was true for the Wii. Like after Smash Brothers Brawl came out, I was happy with the Wii. Everything that came out after that, I was like, oh, that's nice. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Galaxy didn't do it like Smash Bros. Does it. Twilight Princess didn't do it like Smash Bros. Does it. None of these games that are out on the Wii U right now, not even Mario Kart, are gonna do it like the Smash Bros. Games are gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? Like for the DS, it was Kid Icarus. But now Kid Icarus is about to take a back seat because Smash Bros. Is out. Sakurai games just do that to me. Like all of Sakurai's games are like that. Kirby Air Ride even. So, bruh, this Smash Brothers is gonna be everything I want. You know what I'm saying? Like there are no words to express the joy in my heart that this game
So let me
is
ask
coming
you a
out.
question. Let me ask you a question. For fun or for glory?
For both, I'm gonna be a whore, dude. I'm gonna be playing all of them because I believe that item matches can be every bit as intense and require every bit as much skill if used right. Now, people talk about Brawl's casual nature, but the way that you can manipulate item use and stuff in Brawl was you couldn't match Brawl's item game with Melee. Brawl's
Mhm.
item game was better to me. You know what I'm saying? I just loved how you could throw around beam swords, they bounce back at you. You can catch them on the ground and stuff like that. Like maybe I wasn't skilled enough in Melee to do it. That's probably what it really was. But with Brawl, like just the way that item like matches with items work was just so much more fun to me. And so for Glory, that's cool and everything, and I'm gonna go hardcore on that too. But I'm gonna love them both, man. 'Cause for fun, that's the definition of Smash Bros. You know what I'm saying? Like hectic shit just
Yeah,
going
four
down all the time.
players, hectic stuff going on everywhere. The
And there's
Pokemon.
nothing more epic than you playing as Greninja. You got Mario fighting you. You got freaking Ike coming and smashing people all over the place. And Bowser, for some reason, just thrown in, or Game and Watch for no reason, just in the game. And
Mm-hmm.
then suddenly out of nowhere, like freaking uh,
Wii Fit Trainer.
Wii Fit Trainer. And then you throw a Pokeball, and there's freaking Lugia just out of nowhere for no reason, just blasting everybody. And then the freaking Pong game. You know what I'm saying? Just screwing people over. Like that's just how could you not appreciate all of that going on in one game?
So
One game.
what did the majority of people dislike about Brawl? Because it seemed like it was not as well received by the majority.
No, it was not well received by the minority actually.
Oh, was it?
Because
Okay.
Brawl sold a whole lot, and a lot of people enjoyed it, including myself. And it when I think about the tournament style gameplay in relation to Melee, I get a little disgusted with Brawl too, because Brawl just it wasn't as fast and there weren't as many maneuvers that you could do. But Brawl still had a great one-on-one game to me. And if you played it the way it was meant to be played, and you forgot about how you played Melee,
Hmm.
just played Brawl for Brawl, it was just as fun. You know what I'm saying? But people don't like it because it wasn't. I feel like it wasn't Melee, and some of the exploits that you have in Brawl and Melee that you don't have in Brawl. I feel like that's why a lot of people don't like Brawl as much because of the exploits and the overall speed of the game. Brawl is a lot more floaty, and it's Smash Brothers for the Wii. So you have a game, you have a system that is designed that had become kind of synonymous with the family setting,
Hmm.
more so than Nintendo had even before. So it was kind of a soft core Super Smash Brothers. You know what I'm saying? But there had only been two Smash Brothers before that. So it's like I just call Brawl like the adolescent phase of Super Smash Brothers. You know
Yeah, I
what I'm saying?
think.
And I think this new game is going to be the adult phase, and it's going to
Yeah,
take the best from all worlds and put it in.
just like I was saying with all the Wii U games so far, it seems to be the compilation of all the best things from those series, those franchises put into one game.
Mario
And
Kart is a testament to that. Like
hmm
I don't know what they're going to do after this. What are they going to do after Mario Kart 8?
that's
They need to
exactly.
like I want the game to have more tracks. Like I really hope that there's DLC for Mario Kart 8. I really do. I know that sounds kind of weird, but I want more tracks. I want to see what they can do. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
and
saying? With more tracks.
eventually they're going to run out of retro tracks. You just can't.
Yeah,
They've almost done every Super Nintendo
I'm saying
and.
do a favorite cup though. Do an 8 course favorite cup, like the favorite retro tracks from all throughout the series
Hmm.
that
Yeah, that
people
would be cool
petition for, and they make the tracks. You know what I'm saying?
as part of DLC. I think that's would be a good idea
Yeah,
because they might have done a retro track. When did that start? The DS version or the GameCube version?
yeah.
So they might have
No, the
done
DS
like,
version.
in my opinion, one of the best tracks in Mario Kart ever was Super Mario Kart. The original one was the Ghost House one and the Koopa Beach,
Yeah,
and those have been remade like a couple games ago. I'd like to see those games remade for the Wii U. Those levels. I mean, remade for the
absolutely.
Wii U now. So if they double dipped, triple dipped those levels in like DLC, I think that'd be cool. And still give us all new retro tracks. It's kind of oxymoron, but all retro tracks that we hadn't seen.
That haven't been, yeah, that
Haven't been
haven't been.
redone yet. And like your point, what are they going to do next? What would they do in the next game? It's going to have anti-gravity. Otherwise, how are they going to have Mario Kart 8 retro tracks? So it's almost like they outdid themselves. They set the bar pretty high with
Yeah,
this
but
one.
they're gonna figure it out.
Yeah, they got 5 years, 5, 6 years because like I guess this game's been in development since late 2008, early 2009. Um,
Yeah,
so they've been working on that one a while. So yeah, one last thing about Smash. I'm probably going to lose a lot of gaming cred right now, but what are the assist trophies? I
man.
don't know what that is.
Well, yeah, those were in Brawl, dude, and the assist trophies are basically the Pokeballs of Nintendo characters.
Oh, okay.
So you'll have, like I said, the Pong game that came
Mhm.
out in the trailer, or like for instance, like Lil Mac, for instance, was an assist trophy character in Brawl because he wasn't a full character. So he'd come out and box you up a little bit, KO you if he could, and then he was controlled by AI, artificial intelligence.
Okay.
Really dumb artificial intelligence, I might add, for the assist trophies in Brawl. It was terrible. And they didn't release in enough variety. Like I felt like I kept getting the same assist trophy over and over. But anyway, um, yeah, that's basically what they are.
Okay, so
So
they're definitely
characters that
confirmed
didn't
for.
make it as characters that didn't make it as playable characters are assist trophy.
So they're
And
they're they're going to be in the next game for sure. I've seen already
yeah,
reveals.
absolutely.
Hopefully with some better AI, from what you're saying.
Because Saki is back from Sin and Punishment, and he was an awesome assist trophy in Brawl, but his he would jump off the board like immediately. If he didn't have like infinite ground, he just
Mhm.
jump off the friggin' board. He go take this, and then you run off the board. Like, what was your reason for being here? And then he would shoot. They would shoot extra late. They weren't. They need to make assist trophies as smart as level 9 computers are. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? When you like fight against the computer, they need to
Yep.
make it probably like that artificially intelligent. But that's what they are.
All right. Well, I probably shouldn't have asked that live here, and pretty much let
Whatever.
everybody know I'm not a true Nintendo fan apparently, and I'm not a
You
you
just
know.
not. You just didn't
But
pay attention to that. So
I
that's
didn't play
one thing.
Brawl, which I even already said, so that makes sense that I didn't know what they were. And just before I get on to a couple other things, it's just hearing you talking about Brawl and like the memories it's bringing up for you, and just the experiences that you remember. That's just really what makes gaming such a passion of mine, and Nintendo games specifically seem to have a lot more of those type of memories. So I just I just wanted to say that. I just
It's about having games that you want to go back and play, not games that you want to have a sequel to.
hmm
Because games nowadays on the other twin HD consoles aren't memorable. They're just pretty to look at for the time being, and then you're ready to move on to the next. You
yeah,
don't really get the game.
something so like they put out the first game just so they can put out the sequels. Like they just
They're
have to get the
very,
first game out.
yeah, they're very one-dimensional, and they're just not that freaking fun to play. And they don't create timeless moments of wonder and enjoyment for you like these games do. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be replaying Pikmin 3 for the rest of my life if I can. Mario 3D World as well.
Oh
I'm getting
yeah.
back into. I let that game go for a little while, and I'm back to playing it like a fiend now.
I just checked my activity feed or whatever. Um, that's one thing I really love about the Wii U. It keeps track of every second I've played a game since I've had it. And
Yeah.
3D World was at 53 hours. I think I got into that game. I
Yep.
beat it, every character. I beat every level with every character. Got all the stamps. And then I started it on a second save file,
Wow.
and I'm through World 3 as Mario. So that's how much I love that game. That's
I haven't
unheard
gotten
of.
to that point yet. I'm trying to get there where I've beaten every level with every character.
They got to the point if I was playing a level and I was like, I don't really care for this level that much. I'd get towards the pole and then I'd just activate two other controllers and quickly jump on to get that level beat with two characters instead of having to play the whole thing
That's
again.
freaking genius, dude. Oh my
Yeah, it's
god.
cheating, but it was only
No,
on the
it's not.
levels
I'm
that
gonna do that now.
I only did it on the levels I really just didn't enjoy playing. Like this, they just weren't fun. There's probably about 5 or 6 levels like that. Couple
The
of the
boss level.
boss.
Can I do that on that boss compilation level where I gotta fight all the bosses at once?
Yeah. Let's see.
It,
Is that the one with the time limit, or? Because
yes.
it's tricky. You got to have plenty of time, and once you get the final boss, I think it goes to that scene on like a castle where you run to the flagpole.
Yeah, that's
That's when
right.
you'd want to activate them.
Yeah, exactly. I'm
And
with you.
I had two Wii remotes, Pro controller, and my gamepad, so it potentially could have had four. But you got to get them jumped on the pole before the timer. If they just sitting
Hmm.
there, it won't count. You have to,
Yeah,
unless you had a second player get some points for you. They have to have some kind of points, so that's how that works. But
making that
um,
happen.
so far, like there was another thing I wanted to ask was just what's your favorite Wii U game so far? I think it's going to be Monster Hunter, but is there
Yeah,
something?
the, it's not my favorite Wii U game because I've been playing it since pretty much the Wii version came out.
hmm
I still kind of count it as like a port, kind of sort of, even though it's.
Yeah,
But my favorite Wii U game thus far has been, I must say honestly, it has been Pikmin 3.
yeah, that's
Just for just the sheer freshness and the beauty of the game. Even though it's not at all my most played game on the Wii U, it's probably my favorite experience I've had on the Wii U thus far.
yeah, definitely that game surprised me. That was actually the first game I downloaded. I've been downloading them now, and
Hmm.
that was a breath of fresh air. I
Oh
was
my
playing
god.
that came out right before Grand Theft Auto, or right around the same time,
Yep.
like the month before. So I was playing that, and then I tried GTA 5. I couldn't get into it. I never finished it, and then I played Wind Waker. And honestly, Wind Waker I never thought of as like one of my favorite Zelda games, but the Wind Waker HD with the improvements to the sailing, the quick
Hmm.
sail, the
The
map.
improvements to that game changed my whole sentiment about it. I beat that game finally.
Oh yeah, I mean, with the original, you had to constantly hit start and go to the map and go to the sea chart to see if you were
Yeah.
still heading in the right direction every time you had to avoid a shark or something. And on the gamepad, you just looked down and you saw where you're heading, your little triangle, and you just
Yep.
adjust your course on the fly. And it's like I didn't want to play that game off TV because that was then I would have been basically back to the GameCube version. So
Hmm.
that I don't think it got enough credit for what it did with the gamepad and how that changed that whole experience and how it improved
People were
upon
too
it.
busy hating to give any of the Wii games that came out 2013 any credit.
And then it's like places didn't even review that game. There's websites that didn't even do a review for that game, and it was,
Yeah.
I mean, come on. They probably reviewed the God of War collection on the Vita, but they
Oh,
won't.
absolutely.
So that game, at the time, I was like, oh my God, like this might be my favorite Zelda game now. It's just amazing. But then 3D World came out, and I have to say that and Donkey Kong are so far my two favorite Wii U games, just because of those challenging levels at the bonus levels in 3D World and the last world and the bonus level in Donkey Kong are some of the most challenging uh, platforming I've ever played, and
Yeah.
the feeling of accomplishment when I actually beat some of those levels. It was literally fist pumping in the air, and I just don't do that with a lot of other games. I just
With Donkey Kong Country, I don't. That's the first fist pump I've had in a long time since Monster Hunter, really, when I beat a really hard monster or something.
yeah, when I beat that boss, I was like, yeah, and then but when I got to that world 7, it was 7-2
Ooh.
or 7-3 with the clouds that you had to like catch a little bit of air and it sent you up, and I finally, after like 20, 30 deaths, I said, you know what, this is going to be the time. I'm going to beat it. Then I'd die, get real close to the end, and I was like, all right, this is going to be the time. And probably 3 or 4 times later, I finally beat it, and I was just like, I was, joy is the only word I
Yeah.
could think of. If I had to pick one word, it would be joy. It's just like, wow. That's a feeling of accomplishment that you just don't get with hardly any other games, really. I mean, if there's no challenge, then there's no reward. And
Play Monster Hunter.
I'm gonna have to. And I know if Monster Hunter 4, I might just wait for. I don't know. Maybe I should wait for that one on the 3DS or pick it up on the Wii U for $20. But
No, definitely pick this one up because
yeah.
it'll definitely, if you pick it up this year, you'll be playing it well. If you enjoy it, you'll be playing it well into the Monster Hunter 4.
Well, you'll have to take me through and show me the ropes.
Absolutely.
So is that just online? I mean, is that the
No,
majority?
absolutely not. It's
No.
it's offline too, and there's a good bit of game offline.
Do you play it online a lot, or is it mostly offline?
Very often. This is the first time I played it offline in a while, actually.
So yeah, the Wii U doesn't have online though, so I don't know how you're playing it
Yeah,
online.
yeah. I had to rig it. You know what I'm saying?
All
I
right,
had to do that
so
online.
yeah, there's a few other things here. I wanted to let you and anyone watching this now and watching it later, um, on my channel, I'm gonna kind of let people know about Mario Kart 8 tournaments. I'm kind of thinking to do like a weekly, guaranteed a weekly tournament's going to happen every week, maybe on the weekends or maybe a weeknight. We'll try. I'm going to see how the response is for it. But once
Yeah,
Mario Kart 8 comes out, I'm thinking, Friday, Saturday night or something, or Wednesday night, just whatever. Um, well, like I said, I'll see what works best for people. I want to do like, okay, this week this is going to be a tournament. I'll do a little video, and if it works like the Mario Kart 7, it's going to have like a number to give people so they can find your tournament
yeah,
easier. So that's kind of an idea. I wanted to let people know that I'm going to be doing that because I think this online community for this game could put this like make this the next Call of Duty like experience with online, and
yeah. For
I'm
real.
really hoping it does turn out that way. So I'll definitely keep you in the loop, and I'm pretty skilled when it comes to racing games, so I'm feeling pretty confident. But yeah, I definitely want to let people know about that, and you know. Are you getting the game?
Or it's pre-ordered and everything.
All right.
I'm taking off work Friday so that at 10 in the morning when GameStop opens up, I'm getting the game, and by 10:30 I should be at home playing it. And
Yeah,
I probably won't jump online immediately. I'll probably Friday might be actually dedicated, like during the day, might be dedicated to doing some offline like item winning. You know what I'm saying? So I can
yeah, to
unlock
unlock
some
the carts and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
unlock
definitely
the
that.
cards,
That was.
and I want to unlock the me so I can play as myself.
Mm-hmm.
Because unlike most people, I like the Mii's a lot, and unlock the cards that I want to use. And
Yep.
then that night we'll do an online tournament. Sure, if anybody's down for that.
Yeah,
Friday.
that's. Hopefully, there's no server issues with I think there's going to be close to between 500 and 750,000 people picking that game up on the first day. That's by the pre-orders and stuff. I'm worldwide. I don't know if it's going to be a worldwide experience like the Wii one was, or maybe it gives you the option.
It
Uh,
might be. It probably
but
will be.
hopefully the servers will hold up that
I'm
for.
gonna tell people now if there's an issue with the servers, don't get your panties all in a bunch of stuff because there will not have been this many people online on the Wii U since
Ever.
that thing has been out ever.
Yeah.
So you need to be just weary of the fact that that's gonna it's gonna be that way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think people should have realistic expectations, and Grand Theft Auto got away with it for months, so I think
Yeah.
Mario Kart 8 can. Um, Speaking of Mii's, how do you feel about the online races showing your Mii name instead of your Nintendo Network ID? I've noticed that in the videos I watch, it shows it's actually your Mii character name. So if you had it your actual personal name, that's what gets displayed in the
Well,
online races.
I think that on Mario Kart Wii it did the same thing. You could actually choose which Wii you want to play with
Hmm.
individually. So that only really makes sense. And usually on your Wii U, if you have the Mii representing you on your his name is gonna be the same as your user ID typically anyway.
Yeah,
So
I
it,
mean,
it won't really make a difference. So if I
my
want to play as my dad, I'm glad that it won't be my user ID. It'll be my dad's name.
that's
You know.
true. I'm a little disappointed because I've had this Terminator Juice name for years and years, my gamer tags, and that's how people know me. But the character amount of for me is there's not enough letters to spell that out, so I just have T Juice. I think T underscore Juice.
Mm.
Um, there's part of me that's like, well, Nintendo really they're against you know people giving away information online and stuff. Yet if you like, I had my me as my name when I first got on the Wii U, and then Wii Sports Clubs came out, and I was like, oh, that's my name there. People are seeing who I am. So I would rather have the option to have it say Terminator Juice, but it's not gonna take away from the game for me or make it any less
Yeah.
fun. It's just something I
You just
noticed.
you gotta find an alternative, or if it doesn't allow that, create a new me with T
Yeah,
juice or
I
whatever.
already did. I already changed. He looks like me, and I just changed the name to T Juice. So in preparation of this game. So yeah, I, that game's pretty much my most anticipated game of all of 2014. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to spend a day, or at least a full day, unlocking most of the carts and characters and stuff, and then go online. So really looking forward to that. We'll have to plan something. Maybe give people the first weekend to try it out and stuff, and maybe the following week can set up a
Oh
tournament or
hell no,
something.
we doing a tournament Friday night.
I got a
You
birthday party.
you best believe. Oh, you said you got a birthday party?
Well, I'll probably be home 10 o'clock Eastern time, so it'd have to be a later one, but I'll be playing that game when I get home.
I mean,
There's no doubt
it's
about
gonna
it.
be a Friday night, dude. Like I don't have work in the morning. I'll be playing that game all through the night
Hmm.
and all through the next day. Like I have no responsibilities that weekend, so
Sounds
I'll be available at the very least.
all right. So pretty much that's all the topics I had.
All right.
I'm thinking I haven't talked to Francis about it, but I'm thinking do like a pre E3. video here. Maybe not next weekend, but the weekend after that. I'd love it if you could participate if you're game for that.
Yeah,
Um,
just let me know what the time is, man.
okay. Yeah,
It has to
'cause
be after like 5:30, 6 o'clock. Just I
okay.
work. I have a constant schedule though, so that's constant, you know.
Mhm. All right, that sounds cool. So yeah, if Francis is going to be busy or something, I might do one my own. But him and I discussed doing something like that. So yeah, let's plan on making something like that happen. Like I said, in a couple weekends, and maybe do a Mario Kart afterthoughts after we played it and stuff. I was thinking maybe do a video like that, after that weekend. Just pick a day and just share stories and stuff, maybe a shorter video or something. And so anyway, I appreciate you joining me, man. It's really cool. Great conversation.
Yeah,
As
man.
I kind of had a feeling watching your videos and hearing your history that pretty similar to mine. We come from two different worlds, obviously, but um, I love music. You love music. We both love games and pretty much similar types. So yeah, anytime you want to do something like this, just let me know. Or it's been great. So
We'll make it happen, man.
all right. Well, enjoy some more Monster Hunter there. I'm gonna go play some Child of Light. I think been
I need to get that game. I'm tripping.
yeah, it's good, but I've been so busy the last week I haven't touched it. And
Yeah,
it's one
I
of those
get it.
games when you start playing, it's a 2 hour at least. It's hard to stop playing. It's pretty addicting. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. So yeah, again, thanks for joining me, and everyone who watched this. We'll see you guys on the next live stream or the next video I do, and everyone, we'll see you.
All right, man. Be cool.